Welcome to today's lesson on mixed numbers. Today we're going to discuss how to convert a mixed number into an improper fraction and then an improper fraction back into a mixed number. Let's go ahead and get started. We are going to begin today discussing the difference between mixed numbers and improper fractions using the fraction bar that you see on the screen below. Now let's take a look at this fraction bar. In this fraction bar, we have one whole, which is represented here, and then we have a part of a whole with 3 out of 4 squares shaded in. So if we were to write this as a mixed number, we would write our one whole, which represents our one whole here, and we would write the part of a whole separately, 3/4, because we have 3 out of 4 shaded in on our part of a whole. Now a mixed number always has the wholes separated from the part. An improper fraction is a little bit different. Instead of separating the wholes, you add the wholes to the numerator. So let's go ahead and write the same diagram as an improper fraction. Now I want you to remember, the amount is not changing. We're only changing the way that we're writing it. So this fraction bar is split into fourths because we have 4 pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and write my denominator of fourths. And now I need to count how many fourths I have in all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 fourths in all. So now you can see that we've written this fraction as an improper fraction. And 1 3/4 has an equal value to 7/4. We just wrote it a different way because we didn't change the amount that we shaded in our diagram. Now that we've seen visually how you can change a mixed number into an improper fraction, let's go through it mathematically. So we're going to use this fraction bar to start on our screen. Now written as a mixed number, we can see that we have one whole and 1, 2, 3 out of 5 pieces in our part. So we have 1 3/5. So we're going to take 1 3/5 and we're going to change this into an improper fraction. Now in order to change this into an improper fraction, we first need to write our denominator. Our denominator is going to be the same as the denominator of our mixed number because we're not changing the number of pieces that you have in the whole. So I'm going to put fifths as my denominator. Now, my next step, I need to multiply the denominator of my mixed number by my number of wholes. This is going to be multiplying how many wholes we have to tell how many pieces in the whole we have in all. So 5 times 1 equals 5. After I've multiplied my denominator by my wholes, I need to then add my numerator. This is going to be adding how many extra pieces I have in the part, because we're trying to find our numerator, how many pieces we have in all. So 5 times 1 equals 5 plus 3 equals 8. And that means that I should have 8/5 in all. But let's go ahead and check our work just to be sure. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8/5. So that means that we did our work correctly. We were able to find that 1 3/5 has an equal value to 8/5. Now that we know how to mathematically change a mixed number into an improper fraction, let's discuss changing an improper fraction into a mixed number. We know in order to change a mixed number into an improper fraction, we needed to multiply. Well, if we're going to be changing our improper fraction back into a mixed number, we need to do the opposite of multiplication, which is division. We will be dividing 8/5. So that means we're going to divide 8 into 5 pieces. So we're going to start with our dividend of 8 and our divisor, which is our denominator, which is going to be 5. So now we can go ahead and divide out to find a mixed number. Now 5 can go into 8 one whole time. 5 times 1 equals 5. And then when we subtract down, that gives us a remainder of 3. Well, as you can see, we have one whole, which is also the one whole for our mixed number. Now that means that we have a remainder of 3, just like we have a remainder in our mixed number of 3/5. These are the 3 pieces that were left over from one whole. So our remainder is going to be that 3/5 that is left over. And this 3 is representing our numerator in 3/5. Let's go ahead and try a practice problem together. I want you to change 3 and 2/5 into an improper fraction. All right, let's go ahead and walk through this together. First step, we need to look at what our denominator is and write that as our denominator for our improper fraction. Our second step, we need to multiply our denominator by our whole number. 5 times 3 equals 15. And lastly, we need to add our numerator. So 15 plus 2 equals 17. See, that wasn't so bad. Let's go ahead and try another practice problem together. I want you to change 13/4 into a mixed number. All right, well, in order to change 13/4 into a mixed number, we need to do the opposite of multiplication, which is division. So we're going to be dividing 13 into fourths. All right, let's walk through this together. 4 cannot go into 1, so I'm going to put a 0 as a placeholder and move to my next place value. 4 can go into 13 3 whole times. 4 times 3 equals 12. And then when I subtract 13 and 12, I get a remainder of 1. Now we don't have any other place values to bring down. So that means this 1 is actually representing 1/4. So I have 3 wholes and 1/4. So if we're changing this improper fraction into a mixed number, we would change it into 3 and 1/4. Let's review what you've learned in today's lesson. As you can see in the fraction bar below, we have 3 wholes and 1/3. So, written as a mixed number, we write our wholes separately from the part, so we would write 3 and 1/3. Now, if we were to write this as an improper fraction, we would still have thirds as our denominator because the pieces haven't changed, and then we would put all of the fractional parts into the numerator. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 10/3. Now, if we want to change our mixed number into an improper fraction, we need to multiply. So we're going to start by multiplying our denominator by the number of wholes. 3 times 3 equals 9. And then adding our numerator. 9 plus 1 equals 10. And that gets us to 10/3. Now, if we want to do the opposite and change an improper fraction back into a mixed number, we need to do the opposite operation. So we need to divide. So if we were to divide 10/3, we would have to divide 10 into 3 pieces. 3 cannot go into 1, so we need to put a 0 as a placeholder. 3 can go into 10 3 whole times. 3 times 3 equals 9. And when we subtract down, that gives us a remainder of 1. Or, as you can see here, a remainder of 1/3. And as you can see, that matches our mixed number that we had written over here.